We've seen this story for the last 4 years under Kevin Stefanski. Terrible play caller, terrible head coach. Guy's clueless. I've been telling you all this for 4 years. He's not a head coach. Let's look at the guys Kevin Stefanski has ruined. Kirk Cousins. So only year in Stefanski's offense had the worst year of his career. Odell Beckham. We know how that turned out. Stephon Diggs. Worst year of his career, 73 receptions. Baker Mayfield. And now DeShaun Watson. Kevin Stefanski has ruined DeShaun Watson. He has him second-guessing himself, not believing in himself, playing so flat-out terrible, it's embarrassing. And here's why I know it's all in DeShaun's head. This is why I'm telling you. If you look at home, he plays slightly better at home than he does on the road. On the road, he just is lost. He has no clue what he's doing. Look at every road game. He played decent against Washington last year, but on the road, he is fucking terrible. And this is all Kevin Stefanski thing. Now, is DeShaun Watson not the same fucking player? There's a possibility of that. And I'll tell you why. He is mentally fucking fried. He's second-guessing his ability. He doesn't trust his eyes downfield. Holds on to the ball. He's second-guessing himself, and he's not confident. Now, a lot of that has to do with the coverage, too, because if you look at the defense, the All-22, we're covered like a glove. You know why that is? Because everybody knows exactly what the Cleveland Browns are running. They know our offensive tendencies. Stefanski's got like 9 pass plays. He runs them 3 or 4 times a game. The worst play caller ever. This guy does not give his quarterbacks a chance to succeed. He's just terrible. And listen, I got news for you. Stefanski and Watson had all summer to work, and he's regressing under Kevin Stefanski. You had an elite talent quarterback that is playing backup level. If we had a backup quarterback, if we had Zach Wilson, we would have beat the Steelers 40-7 yesterday. That's how bad they are, and that's how bad Watson played. And I think Steelers fans know they're terrible. They gained -7 yards in the fourth quarter, and we lost because DeShaun Watson turned it over. At the final minute, like a dumbass, he turned it over. He fumbled it. He just looks lost out there. Stefanski is a cancer. This guy is an egomaniac. He's like a child. I want to call plays, Jimmy. He has to call plays. I fucking hate this guy. He has killed my football the last 4 years, and I can't take it no more. I'm telling you right now, Jimmy has him. If you run DeShaun Watson out next week at home against the Tennessee Titans, you're going to get the exact same result. Maybe a little better because he plays better at home, because I think mentally he's just so fragile right now because Stefanski's got his in his head and he's running an offense. He's really not running an offense he really doesn't want to run, and it's just ruining him. But it's not going to turn. It's not going to turn around. Jimmy, it's not going to get better. You need to get rid of Kevin. Give Alex Van Pelt 3 or 4 weeks tops to work with Watson to get him back on track. If he can't get back on track and we're not winning games, you got to move on to fucking DTR. If he's starting to play better, keep playing Watson. But we can't sacrifice the season. We got a generational defense right now. That's how good that defense is. It's generational. We really do have a great defense, and it's being wasted because Kevin's side of the ball is floundering. Look at how inspired the defense plays. It's like 2 different teams. The defense, bunch of guys happy, having a good time. Then you got the offense, all dejected, depressed. Look at Watson's face on the field. He looks lost out there. He looks like he's second-guessing his own abilities. Like he has no confidence. It's almost like he's Chuck Knobloch, can't make the throw to first base. And that's because of the Kevin Stefanski effect. He's like a fucking cancer. Anything Kevin Stefanski touches is cancer. That's just a fact. I mean, Jarvis Landry and fucking Odell Beckham had 1,000 yards under Freddie fucking Kitchens. Beckham comes to Cleveland under Stefanski. Can't get nothing. I told you guys when we hired this clown, he was fucking terrible. And I can't stand him. I loathe him. I fucking wish I'd wake up and they'd see fucking Haslam fired him. It's not going to change, Jimmy. You're a fucking moron. You got a $250 million investment that you don't know how to fucking protect. Now, Watson very well may be shot. He could be. I don't think he is, but there is a lot to say about his lack of speed. He used to be able to avoid sacks and escape them and then run down the field with a quickness. Can't do that anymore. He looks like he's running in quicksand. He looks slow as molasses now, and that's concerning. That's very concerning. He looks very physically slow. He looks like a darker Baker Mayfield running. That's how slow he is. Boy, If we had Baker Mayfield, we'd be 2-0 right now. We would have killed the Bengals 55, whatever. Although Watson plays slightly better at home, if you notice that. And we would have definitely beat the Steelers like a drum yesterday. But we got DeShaun Watson. A guy who Kevin won't change the offense. It's my offense. I want you to run my offense, DeShaun. Trust me, it's going to get better. No, it's not. You're running an offense that everybody knows exactly. If you look at the All-22, that's why we're so covered. Everyone thinks DeShaun holds the ball. He does. But guess what? Everyone's covered. But you know what the old DeShaun would do when everyone was covered? He would take off and run. He's not doing that now. You know why? Because he's fucking second-guessing everything. Stefanski's in his fucking head. And, yes, DeShaun usually, that was his great part of him being a weapon. If someone was covered, he could just take off and run. Now he won't do it. He's fucking second-guessing everything, and he's slow as molasses. So, listen, Stefanski's horrible. He's fucking horrible. Like I said, look at the penalties on the offensive side of the ball compared to the defensive side of the ball. One is playing like an elite unit. We had that one breakdown. I think we were playing man-to-man coverage. Someone got open pickings. That was a fluke. That one play beat us because that's their only offensive point of the game. That play beat us. But our defense is generational, and our offense could be great, but it's not. And it's because of the combination of DeShaun being horrible, which Kevin Stefanski infected. And this is another thing too. He had a nice throw, one of the only good throws he had on the night. 3rd and 17, nice dime he threw to Amari Cooper. The very next series, they did the same play on 2nd and 20. Same result, or same play, same sideline. Like I said, Stefanski runs the same play over and over. He's terrible. And I'm so tired of people saying our identity. We don't have an identity. We don't know if we're a running team. We got Nick Chubb. Let me ask you something. At the end of the game when we should be running clock, eating clock up, where's Nick Chubb at? He's on the fucking bench. Because Stefanski doesn't know if he wants to fucking shit or wind his wristwatch. He doesn't know if he wants to be a passing team or a running team. So we have no identity. Everyone thinks we're led by Nick Chubb. But we're not. Stefanski would be throwing on 4th and 1. I mean, he's clueless. He runs a high school offense at an NFL level, and he runs it very badly. And yes, it's sad what happened to Nick Chubb, but guess what? Next man up. I'd rather, listen, I love Zadarius Smith. I love Nick Chubb, but losing Zadarius Smith would have been a lot bigger than losing Nick Chubb. Trust me when I tell you, we got to have that defense. That defense is the only thing we have to hope for right now. I do believe if they fire Stefanski, get rid of that cancer, that motherfucker out of that building, let Alex Van Pelt work with Watson for the next 3 weeks, I actually think Watson can be salvaged. And I also think if they trade Watson to a team like the Jets and Hackett, I think he can play great in New York. I just think a new coach would do wonders for him. That's why I think Van Pelt can do wonders for him. Because, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. You heard Troy Aikman say it last night. They're not building an offense to suit DeShaun Watson. It's Kevin Stefanski's offense. Troy Aikman said this is Kevin Stefanski's offense. What he did in Houston, they're not doing over here. There's no design runs. He's running a totally different offense than he's accustomed to. Only Kevin Stefanski's egomaniac ass would bring in a superstar quarterback and force his generic, archaic 1988 Clint Didier, Washington Redskin, Joe Gibbs offense on him. You got to play to your quarterback's strengths. But then again, he did the same thing to Baker Mayfield. Kevin Stefanski is an egomaniac. He wants to be the superstar. Just watch the Miami Dolphins. If DeShaun Watson was in Miami right now, oh my God, he'd probably have 10 touchdowns and 1 interception. He would be dominating in Miami. They run a totally NFL offense. We run a high school offense. How the fuck can't Jimmy Haslam see how bad this guy is? Now, there is a chance that Watson will never regain his form again, but I happen to think that it's never going to happen in Cleveland, not with Stefanski. So that as long as they keep Stefanski, Watson will never play any better, and that's a fact. There's no doubt. But if they fire Stefanski, I do believe Alex Van Pelt can get Watson back. I believe it. I do. And there is a possibility that he'll never be the same player. But right now, he is playing below average. He's not even playing backup status. If he was a backup right now, he'd be a practice squad quarterback. That's how bad he's playing. And that's the honest God truth. There's that possibility he lost it. I think it's a lot mental. I think mentally, he just doesn't believe in himself. Nobody looks lost out there. And I think that's because Stefanski's got his head going crazy with this offense. I don't think DeShaun's the smartest guy in the world to begin with. But if he's confused out there on the football field, he's going to start second-guessing himself. And that's why you see a lot of his throws going in the dirt because he shouldn't have threw it. He should have threw it earlier. He's late on a lot of his passes. You got to get Stefanski away from him. Stefanski has ruined him, just like he did Kirk Cousins, just like he did Beckham, just like he did Mayfield, just like he did Stephon Diggs. So it's a simple solution, Jimmy. You got Jim Schwartz, elevate him the head coach, but get Kevin the fuck out of here. And if you do that, Alex Van Pelt's your coordinator, and Watson's getting worse, then guess what? DTR, it's DTR time. Because you got a generational defense. We cannot waste a season because you let a head coach. You made a mistake. You should have fired him at the end of last year. Jimmy Haslam's a fucking idiot. He should have fired Stefanski after last season. We could have had a fucking whole new coach. Oh, my God, it would have been biblical. Because I'll guarantee you, any coach that came to Cleveland would have fucking built an offense around what DeShaun Watson does, what his strengths are. And what I'm watching right now is a game manager type offense, high school, 20-yard box garbage offense, nothing. We don't go down the field. How about the first play of the game? 5 wide, on the road, and he throws it to Harrison Bryant. Unbelievable. Harrison Bryant, the backup tight end. Throw it to him. The worst play caller ever. He's ruined DeShaun Watson, and he needs to be fired. If you want to salvage this, if you want to have any semblance or shot at salvaging DeShaun Watson, you got to get Stefanski out of there. Because you can play him. What's going to happen is Jimmy Haslam is going to sit there and waste 8 more games. He's going to waste 6 more games. The Browns will be 2-8 or 2-6. The season will be over, and he'll fire Stefanski. That is how dumb this guy is. Rather than make the move now and try to get Van Pelt to get work with Watson and build an offense that he's fucking comfortable with. Another thing that's alarming, though, is how slow Watson is. He is so fucking physically slow right now. His feet look like he's playing in quicksand. He used to be able to avoid the rush, move around, Like I said, when players are covered, he'd take off, boop, 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 20, 30 yards. He ain't even doing that now. It's amazing how bad a coach can fucking hinder a team. Coaching means a lot. Stefanski, boy, did we get a bad one. Remember, this guy cost us the Chiefs playoff game a couple years ago. Remember that? We had the game won. All we had to do was score a touchdown, and he ran 7 plays and got conservative, kicked it, never got the ball back. Chad Henne, boop, 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 boop. So, yeah, I'm frustrated. I'm pissed because I know we have a generational defense. We should have killed the Steelers yesterday. Even the Steelers fans know it. And it's a travesty watching a head coach destroy a quarterback who, by the way, is playing terrible. He's playing terrible. But I do believe Stefanski has a large input in him. There is mostly to blame for the way he's playing. I do believe Stefanski's offense has just destroyed Watson's confidence. I believe that. And if I'm wrong, Watson just sucks again, he very well could. But I do believe it's Stefanski. And Watson hasn't showed me anything on tape to lead me to believe that he's actually regressing. He's actually, last year, the 2-year layoff, 2.5 years, you can understand him playing bad, but now he's regressing. He played better the first week at home. Not much better, but better. And on the road, he just looks terrible. I think the fans get to him. I think he's mentally shot. And when you're mentally shot as a quarterback or any athlete, you're done. You're done. So I hope I'm wrong, but we got to get Stefanski out of there. But more than likely, he's going to stay. We'll finish 4-13, and Jimmy Haslam's an idiot.